Okay, we talked a little bit about the history of this weapon. I do want to mention that reloading components for this weapon are readily available. Lee puts out a very usable set of 8mm dies. Okay, quantities of the 323 diameter 8mm soft point and target bullets are available at reasonable prices. Brass can be formed from 30-06, and I have a factory 30-06 casing to the right to show for comparison. These are all converted 30-06 casings that have been fire formed to my Kar 98K. Now, I do want to mention that depending on what Mauser variant you end up getting, you definitely want to slug the barrel, because the original bore diameter on these was around 318, and then later when they changed, the round type that they were using to the Spitzer type, they switched to a 323 diameter bullet to increase ballistic coefficient, or to make that number more suitable for the longer range shooting. Basically just less drag with a Spitzer bullet as opposed to a round nose. But you definitely do not want to shoot a 323 diameter bullet through a 318 diameter bore. An older Mauser, that will not be pretty. Okay, so like I said, reload components are readily available. And by the way, I do have a conversion video about how to convert this brass to 8mm, so be sure to check that out if you want a source of cheap brass. So that's the reloading components. Okay, I said that we would talk about some of the accessories. Now, I regretfully say that I don't have the amount of accessories for the Kar 98 as I do for the Mauser and Gaunt's and such. But here's an example of how the ammo comes packaged. You can get a lot of this 50 surplus stuff. This is Yugo 50s era surplus ammunition, and it comes packaged usually on stripper clips. This is some of the Romanian stuff. As you can see, a lot of it's sealed and everything. Now, I'll take a picture in a minute of the sealed spam can that this stuff comes in, but it'll be boxed up in 20 round boxes like this. So that's just to show you that. Here's what the stripper clips look like. Okay, that's pretty self-explanatory, just like any other type of, stripper clip device. Alright, and then here's some more of the ammo. Here's the bayonet. You have what's called a frog, like a leather retention, thing for the scabbard. And you have the bayonet. The bayonet attaches to the rifle up here. Alright, bayonet's firmly attached. You're ready to kill stuff. Now, I didn't exactly showcase the Yugo M48 that much, but I pulled it out because we were talking about accessories. Here's your sling, a leather sling. On the other side, it's held in just by the, stock itself, see? Alright. You have your hood over the front, the sight hood. This is removable. It will slip off. And another, it's not really an accessory, but one thing that Mausers tend to, for some reason, they kind of get missing over the years, are these things called capture screws. I'm going to try to get this thing to focus properly. But the smaller screw is a capture screw, and that keeps this thing from getting any looser during extreme recoil. There's one on the front and the back. There's another capture screw right there. So those are some of the most common accessories. You can almost bet that if you buy a Kar 98 or any kind of Mauser rifle, those are going to be the kind of accessories that you're likely not going to get unless you just get lucky. Like I said, sling, the hood, bayonet, scabbard, frog, stripper clips. There's also a cleaning kit you can get for these, but I don't own one. But from what I hear, they're very nice. So that's just the ammo and the accessories, and we're going to move on to show you some of the features, unloading, loading, all that good stuff. Okay, most Mauser variants are going to work pretty much the same way. Loading is accomplished by opening the bolt fully to the rear. As you can see, there's a stripper clip notch cut into the receiver to accept the stripper clip. There's your floor plate that, provides the tension on the rounds. Okay, I want to very quickly show you the safety. Now, you do have to depress this floor plate to close the bolt. The reason that floor plate clicks into place is a soldier in battle won't close the bolt on an empty rifle. Okay? To put this weapon on safe, as you can see, the safety is all the way to the left. It's in the fire position. To put the weapon on safe, put it in the up position like this. Now you'll notice, if a soldier has his weapon on safe, and that soldier goes to fire the weapon, what happens? He goes to look down the sights, and oh crap, I can't see the sights. So that's one way that they know, and obviously the weapon will not fire. With the safety in the up position as shown, the bolt can be opened, and you know, of course, all of this manipulated in terms of putting ammo in the weapon, unloading, etc. In fact, one of the ways I'm going to show you how to unload, you definitely want to make sure the safety's on. The second safety position is all the way to the right. Now, what that does is that locks the action closed and prevents the trigger from being squeezed. So, or well, it takes the sear engagement out actually, but that's what all that does. Okay, so when you're ready to fire, rotate the safety all the way to the left. You're good to go. Allow me to reposition the camera and gather the necessary materials. I'm going to show you a few of the different ways you can load this weapon. Alright, I showed you the stripper clip notch on the top of the weapon. I'm going to show you how to load this thing. Now, in battlefield conditions, I mean, you're not going to worry about the safety, re-engaging it on and off, because you need bullets in the gun and you need to shoot it. But by the book, you want to engage the safety in the first position. Alright, the bolt goes all the way to the rear until the floor plate locks up. Insert the stripper clip into the stripper clip guide. Load the weapon. Now, you don't have to physically pull this stripper clip out, because when you chamber the first round, it's just going to knock that bad boy right off. Okay? Now, to unload, there's two different ways you can unload this weapon. You can either manually cycle the rounds as such, like that, or on the bottom of this weapon, you can remove the floor plate. Now, if you're not in a hurry, this is a way you can do it. But push the button down and push back on it just like I just did. It'll be under tension. Alright, there's your floor plate. Invert the rifle. The rounds will fall right out. Okay? That's the two ways you can unload it. I do want to very quickly mention that you're going to have three general types of bolts for these guns. Especially on the Yugo made guns, you're going to have a fully bent. As you can see, the bolt is fully bent down, as with most Kar 98Ks. You're going to have a wide arc bolt. As you can see, it's not straight, yet it is not curved all the way down. As you can see, there's no cut in the stock for the fully curved bolt. And then you're going to have a straight bolt. They all have their advantages and disadvantages, but ultimately I prefer the fully bent bolt because it gives the overall weapon a lower profile, and in my opinion, just a little bit easier overall function of the weapon itself. You get a little bit better leverage. So that's pretty much Mausers in a nutshell. I know there's probably people out there that are going to be like, you know, oh, you're wrong, or your dates are wrong, or there's something wrong. But I'll tell you what, people, there's so much damn reading you can do on these rifles. I suggest you just pick up a few good Mauser books and just read up on it. I mean, there's lots of good history on this stuff. This is just meant to be kind of a crash course, you know, quick Mauser benchtop, you know, chat about this. So I do want to very quickly mention that you're going to have three general types of bolts for these guns. Especially on the Yugo made guns, you're going to have a fully bent. As you can see, the bolt is fully bent down, as with most Kar 98Ks. You're going to have a wide arc bolt. As you can see, it's not straight, yet it is not curved all the way down. As you can see, there's no cut in the stock for the fully curved bolt. And then you're going to have a straight bolt. They all have their advantages and disadvantages, but ultimately I prefer the fully bent bolt because it gives the overall weapon a lower profile, and in my opinion, just a little bit easier overall function of the weapon itself. You get a little bit better leverage.